Thank you everyone for joining. So today's webinar, hosted by Elite Aerospace, specifically our division in Digital Enterprise, will be hosted by Sarah Nguyen. She is the Senior PLM Consultant, and she'll tell us about configuration and change management and a little bit about Elite. My name is Stuart Weiler, the Director of PLM. So I'm here to answer any of your questions, help with the webinars, and we'll happily do webinars by request. So let us know if there's any topics that you'd like to see. That being said, I'll pass the presentation over to Sarah. Take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Stu, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. As Stu said, my name is Sarah Nguyen, and I am a certified CM2, that's Configuration Management 2, professional, serving as that Senior PLM Consultant for the Elite Digital Enterprise Group of Elite Aerospace. And today I'll be expressing what I call the art of configuration management and what that looks like in the PTC Windchill PLM system. And for those of you who are not yet familiar, the Elite Aerospace Group comprises of several business units encompassing component design, manufacturing, and engineering services in the commercial, private, and defense aerospace industry, as well as business integration and financial services. Under the Engineering Services Business Unit, the Elite Digital Enterprise Group supports clients to analyze and overcome business challenges through consulting, technical services, and software solutions. Elite Engineering Services is also a PTC partner in which we consult on and resell products. On top of that, though, we are also a happy PTC customer in which we leverage their CAD, PLM, IoT, and AR tools for our business operations and manufacturing. Again, we boast the Institute of Process Excellence's CM2 Professional certification. With all of these tools, we analyze and optimize current business processes and administrate, configure, customize, and train on PTC tools to support these processes. We then transfer that expertise over to our clients to help them achieve their business goals. And before we dive into today's topic, I'd like to mention our upcoming webinars and events, which are listed on our website at elitedigitalenterprise.com/webinars. Coming up soon on Tuesday, October 16, we will host a webinar on Creo collaboration and flex modeling. And that same week, on Thursday, October 18, PTC will host a virtual event on embracing the pace of change for aerospace and defense in a connected world. Please register on our website at the URL listed. And as Stuart said, that's where you'll also find recordings of today's webinar and our previous webinars. And if you would like to request anything to see in the future, you can send him an email directly at sweiler@eliteaerospacegroup.com. Okay, let's get started. Today, I'll lightly introduce configuration management in an engineering environment and what makes it an art. We'll look at how to control configurations in PTC's Windchill PLM system through establishing bill of materials, as well as how to control changes through the capture of issues and variances with change requests. Finally, we'll look at how to easily account for reporting on status. And just to reiterate, let's leave room at the end for any questions you may have. We'll start with the basics. What is configuration management? Configuration management, also known as CM, is the concept of fully and explicitly defining an item, particularly all of the various forms of itself, which we call configurations, the inception and life cycle of each version, the exact differences between each version, and the overall process to manage that. So in an engineering and manufacturing environment, this can be specific to an item, right, from concept to design to production, all the way to support. The bigger question often overlooked is, why is CM important? Well, some industry standard organizations consider effective configuration management as a huge contributor to quality. Some you may recognize here. Items that we produce that both succeed and fail are traced back to gain a better understanding for further improvement. And the ability to capture and reference the item's varying configurations is thus crucial, whether it's to identify a problem item that was delivered to a customer or utilize a lesson learned from an issue during the design process, or communicate the rationale for a deviation that occurred during the life cycle of an item, and so on. So how is configuration management an art? The ease and clarity in which we can define and express such details is an art. That is, the easier it is to gather information and the more clear it is to grasp, the better the configuration management is. Most interestingly, the better the configuration management is, the easier it becomes to manage existing items and simplify creating new ones. Eventually, the system of optimized processes becomes self-sustaining. And ultimately, as with any art, there needs to be a strong underlying philosophy to self-drive this craft. This philosophy has a foundation of what I like to call 9 basic principles that govern any robust, sustainable process. The first being simplicity, as in simple to teach, simple to adopt, and simple to do. Next, minimalism, where less or just the right amount of effort is more. Balance, as in balancing the ideal state versus the realistic state versus what's practical. Organization, which is the standardization and consistency of sharing information. Change, which is the notion that change is ever occurring and requires effective handling. Transparency, having visibility of the what, why, who, when, and how. Open communication, which means accessibility, ease, translation, and clarity of messages of information. Human-centered design, which to me is the inclusion, trust, and engagement of the users and how to best serve the users. And lastly, impact, the desired result versus the actual result that we get and the difference between them. So the purpose of configuration management is to integrate these foundational principles into the process of production such that it efficiently and effectively facilitates variation and change throughout the life cycle of an item that we're producing. It actually appears harder than it actually is because, thankfully, we have the right tools to facilitate good CM. To accomplish this, we turn to Windchill to support a strong foundation for product lifecycle management, also known as PLM, in an engineering environment. Windchill facilitates the management of product data, such as its requirements, its primary and secondary documentation, its parts, assemblies, and structures or bill of materials, and its product configurations or baselines. It also facilitates change history to provide the ability to audit and trace and proof of verification and validation. We'll look at how Windchill treats a product. So in Windchill, a part serves as a logical database representation of a physical item used to build a product. Physical components of the part can include packaging, product manuals, software, electronic or mechanical components, etc. A part has a name, number, and version, pretty simple stuff. It also includes other descriptive attributes such as unit of measure, life cycle state, working status, the source, etc. The beauty is that Windchill then manages entire part structures. A part structure, or bill of material, also called a BOM, captures the content of a product as it evolves over time. That can include in its versions or baselines. In Windchill, the Structure tab provides the BOM and details of each part, including its attributes, its visualization, and its uses. Part structures relate an assembly part, which we call a parent, to child parts via something deemed usage relationships. The uses relationship connects a specific parent part version to the part master of each child part. So this version to master connection makes it possible for different versions of a parent assembly part to use different child parts, and we can keep track of all of that. This can be seen under the Uses tab in the system. The used by relationship works from the opposite direction. Using the Where Used table in Windchill displays all the parent assemblies that use a selected part, which ultimately helps the user to determine the impact of a change to a part. With part structures, we can establish baselines and with optional filters applied. Filters can include the lifecycle state, any promotion requests for release or cancellation of a part, etc. Here we see the ability to edit and save custom filters, and then the ability to add the part structure to a new or existing baseline. Two part structures, including their BOMs and attributes, can be compared side by side as well. Using the Compare to Part Structure function, a visual comparison is produced in which differences, such as deletions, additions, and so on, are highlighted, including the ability to compare attributes, uses, relationships, related documents, and visualizations if applicable. Another nice feature in Windchill is the ability to easily produce a report or data export of the part structure, either as a single-level BOM or a multi-level BOM. Additionally, the BOM may be exported to various file types depending on your needs. Aside from part structure functionality, in our quest for good configuration management, we want to best capture and trace any issues encountered for any specific part. So issues, problems, or opportunities for a part can be reported through a problem report workflow. What's nice is that we do not require any known correlation to a part or a proposed solution in order to create a problem report. Anyone can simply identify a problem, and as it moves through the process, we will then make those associations or correlations. Here's what a problem report looks like in the Windchill user interface, in which a name can be specified for it, the requester, a category can be assigned, as well as a priority and a need date, and a description of the problem. The end items or objects or associations can then be selected directly to this problem report if they are known at the time, and any attachments can be provided as well. Resolving a problem report is accomplished through a change request, which we will talk about later. We also want to formalize the acceptance of a variance. So a part that is found to be non-conforming to its requirements is reported as a variance with one of two types. A deviation, which is the acceptance of a planned departure from a configuration before the part is realized or produced. This is planning ahead. Or with a type as waiver, in which we accept the item as non-conforming as is. What a variance looks like in Windchill is what you see here, in which there is, again, a name and an owner, a category that can be assigned to it, and some other attributes such as whether it's a recurring variance or not, the date in which we need to have this established, the description and reason for it, as well as an approved quantity to accept this variance. Again, the impact can also be defined in this request, as well as selecting the affected end items, objects, or associations. Again, attachments can be included. Accepting a variance is also accomplished through a change request. So change control is the heart of configuration management, in which the process to manage and account for changes must be robust to achieve effectiveness and efficiency in business, right? So Windchill provides an optimized change request workflow to accomplish this. And a change request in Windchill can be created in response to one or more issues or variances, or without reference to any. The change request details the changes necessary to correct a problem or provide enhancement so that the appropriate body of people, such as a change review board, can make an informed business decision to proceed with or deny the proposed change. The request is captured through workflow with review and approval gates. And here's what the change request looks like in Windchill. We have a category for this as well, a request priority, medium, high, low, need date, as well as areas for description and a proposed solution. Custom attributes may also be added, such as recurring or non-recurring costs, and anything else that may be required for your business. Again, any end items, objects, or associations are selected here if known, and attachments can be included as well. The change request workflow then routes to a change administrator to analyze the request, and then based on pre-specified criteria, route the request appropriately through either a fast track or full track, which requires review by a change review board as needed. Subsequently, the customer may be involved, as required. And at any time, the request may be sent back for clarification or fully declined, in which the request closes. Upon full approval, however, a change notice, or CN, is then generated. A change notice represents the work authorization to resolve that problem, and it's often generated from an approved change request. It can be created in reference to more than one change request, or without any, actually, if you choose to configure it that way. From an approved change request, though, the change notice can be automatically generated during the workflow process, and the information from the change request can automatically propagate from that as well, if desired. Nice little feature there. So in Windchill, it's easy to track changes. The Changes tab in the system provides full history of previous and current issues, variances, and changes associated with each part. Here's what that looks like for a specific part. You'll have the entire screen providing you the information, if there is any, for that particular part. So with our issues, variances, and changes all captured in Windchill, it's easy to relate and trace the relationship between the workflows. So starting with the optional problem report or a deviation or waiver, a change request is generated to resolve the issue or variant. When a change request is approved, a change notice is generated, which includes a predefined implementation plan full of change tasks for an author to revise documentation as needed. Once the change tasks are completed, the change notice is automatically closed, which automatically closes the change request and automatically closes the originating problem report or deviation or waiver as applicable. So a lot of automation and a clean process with full traceability. And the last critical element of effective configuration management is easy and accurate status accounting. Windchill does come with standard change system reports, change management logs include an issue log, a change request log, change notice log, and a variance log, so you can see them all separately. There are also change summary reports to see a high-level summary of the problem reports, the change requests and notices, and variances. Implementation status reports also include the implementation plan, such as the change notice tasks, so you have granular visibility on the tasks at hand. And it also comes with a change monitor. Additionally, custom reports can be configured by an administrator. And here's an example of a report that Elite has created to track our open workflows by specific project with color-coded status. So in conclusion, we find a holistic solution to easily and effectively manage configurations by building a strong foundation with out-of-the-box Windchill functionality, as well as being given the ability to customize to specific business needs in order to fully realize the art. To wrap up, I would like to point you to some valuable resources on our website at elitedigilenterprise.com/configuration-management, where you'll find a white paper with much more detail on what I just spoke about in terms of the art of configuration management, as well as other details on how to obtain the full handbook on that, because there's even more resources on how to plan for and implement CM into your business. And additionally, you'll find details on gaining a consultation for Windchill-specific CM implementation from Elite. Again, thank you for joining us today. And if anyone has any questions now, please feel free to send a chat message through the WebEx meeting to either myself, Sarah and Wynn, or our host.
Sarah, thank you very much for the presentation today. I think that was a great intro into what you can do in CM in Windchill. So we do appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't think I see any questions now, unless I'm mistaken. Someone can raise their hand.
So if anyone does have any questions or anything else that they'd like to see. As you saw in the beginning, Elite supports all of the PTC products as well as varying engineering services. Please feel free to reach out to us, and we look forward to having a conversation with you. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you in a future webinar.